Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome into 104.3 The Fans Tea Time. It's D-Mac, Rachel V. Hill hanging out with you. D-Mac, is it snowing at your house?
It is. It is. I love it. I love the first snow of the year. It'll be gone in a day or so, but man, it's awesome, and it puts me in the mood for skiing and getting up to the mountains. So I'm pumped. I'm excited for all of it. And yeah, October snow, man, freaking awesome. Love
I
it.
know. I feel like last year, didn't we get our first snow really, really late?
I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
That's a good question. But are you a fan of the snow, Rachel? Are you all right with the snow or not?
I'm a fan of the snow until Christmas. And then
Until Christmas?
I don't want any. Yeah, I want like a white Christmas. Then I don't want any snow. But that seems to be like when Denver gets all of their majority of their snow. So this morning I woke up and I had mixed feelings. It was like, oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Like I just want to cuddle up on my couch and like look at it. And then I had to let my dog outside, and I was like, I'm cold. I hate the snow.
There will be, and I officially call them jerks. You will see people exercising outside today. And I will just tell all those people to go pound sand, take your Russell Wilson-like behavior, and stick it where the sun don't shine. We don't need to know you're better than all of us because you can jog, bike. Walking your dog is different.
Yep.
Walking your dog is different. In fact, walking period, I'm okay with. But no, seeing people who are vigorously exercising outside when it's snowing, come on, give me a break.
I'm with you. Let's talk about London, though, because James Merrillat, first of all, is going to join us here in a little bit, which will be exciting because he's obviously in the UK. But George Paton talked to the media today about a couple of different things, so we can get into it. But the number one thing is that, at least in my mind, is that he defended Nathaniel Hackett. And this came as a surprise to me, but also to our very own Adam Schefter, who joined Mike and Mark this morning. Take a listen.
I was surprised, maybe I shouldn't be, that George Paton's coming out and defending your head coach and saying I'm 100% behind him. To me, if you have to defend your rookie head coach and give him votes of confidence after 7 games, that tells you all you need to know.
True or false?
True. That's the vote of confidence thing. I mean, it's a reasonable question. It was an odd answer, in my opinion, from George Paton because he's talking about he's been so scrutinized. And Adam's point was, listen, man, every game's on TV. Every single NFL game gets scrutinized, whether it's on a national TV by itself or it's one of 8 games on Octobox on Red Zone. It doesn't matter. Every single game in the NFL, it's the nature of the NFL, Rachel, gets picked apart. So it really doesn't matter if you're on Sunday Night Football. Is he just intimidated by Mike Tirico? I mean, is Troy Aikman make him nervous? So it's not Spiro Ditas. So now I'm nervous. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. What he's really saying is this has been more embarrassing for us because we're on national TV all the time, and listen, you want to give your coach a pat on the back, and I believe you. I mean, it's all right. I guess. I mean, the other side to it is, well, what do you expect him to say?
Mm-hmm.
But to think that, I don't know, man. I don't expect him to rip on his guy. It's just maybe more emblematic, Rachel, that these two are tied together. Okay, these two are tied together. So, okay, fine. And I actually do not expect Nathaniel Hackett to be fired after this game if they lose. I expect other coaches to be fired. I expect other changes to happen, and I expect trades. Mm-hmm. But I don't expect Nathaniel Hackett to be canned. Should he be? Probably, but I don't expect it.
Who do you anticipate, I'm assuming just on the offensive side of things, to be canned?
Well, I'll just go with Butch Barry, the offensive line coach. We'll start there.
Okay.
I think there's some danger signs for Lauren Landau, the strength and conditioning coach. There may be some troubles for Lauren right there. Although a mid-season shift in that department would seem kind of odd. So I'll just stick with Butch Barry.
No Justin Outen?
No. Outen is tied in with Hackett, and nobody really knows what Outen does anyways. So nobody's. What would you blame Outen for?
That's my point, though. We don't know what he does, so why do you need him?
Did the keg get to the fraternity party on time? I mean, that's as far as I can tell. That's Outen's job. Nah, he's not going to get fired. What does he do?
But that's my point. If Nathaniel Hackett's like, look, you're going to save your own butt to get somebody else off, right? You're going to save your own butt. If he's like, look, we need a major change in the offense, fine. We will hire a different offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but it's, again, I guess I just go to, I don't know what he does. So he doesn't call the plays. He just helps with the PowerPoints or
really, what does he do?
Maybe he photocopies the leaflets to hang on mailboxes for when the frat party is. I don't know. I keep going with the frat party. So Outen to me is just it's a whatever sort of situation. Mm-hmm. You're not going to fire Stooks, nor should you have to. I don't know. Maybe Tyrone Wheatley, the running backs coach, gets blamed for something. I mean, that would seem kind of petty. I think the guy that you could hang significant blame and actually make significant change is actually the offensive line coach, Butch Barry. Mm-hmm. And he's the first-time guy doing this, and, they haven't been very productive on the offense. So I'll put it on him. Do I think it's all his fault? Not necessarily. Do I think he knows what he's doing? I don't know. Doesn't look like it. And at the end of the day, this is all kind of a moot point because it's all about the connection the coach has with the quarterback, and are these guys on the same page? And clearly they're not, Rachel. And how that can improve without removing the coach, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And George Paton, man, and I was one of them. I praised him for getting the deal done with Russell Wilson and, making the trade for him, getting the deal done, all that. And I can sit here and say I was wrong because I clearly was wrong. One of the other things that George Paton said is the reason why the deal got done, he said this today, was because he wanted to get ahead of things. Yeah. And it's like, oh, man, it was just a blatant admission that you didn't really have to do it. Now, again, I was all for it. So I'm not, I get it. I mean, I thought it was the right move. And for me to admit Mike Evans is right about anything kills me. But Mike is looking really right on this one.
Oh, I agree. I would be curious, which maybe we need to do this next week, is get somebody from Seattle to hop on and say, is the national scrutiny that you're seeing with Russ worse here in Denver than what it was in Seattle? Because maybe we just weren't paying attention to what was going on in Seattle compared to like we are now, but it just feels like now it is everywhere.
Rachel, I'm one of them. Listen, yeah. I had no idea. Mm-hmm. I didn't know anything about Russell Wilson's personal life, Rachel. I really didn't. Yeah. I liked him when he was coming out in the draft in 2012. Really liked him quite a bit because the Broncos had Tim Tebow at the time, and I thought, oh, well, that's a perfect compliment to Tim Tebow. Yeah. But that was 10 years ago, and I didn't realize everything else that goes on with quarterbacks, and things have evolved and changed. And I certainly would never draft a quarterback in the second or third round now, ever. Fourth through the seventh, I would consider, but never in the second and third round. Either commit to it or you don't commit to it. Yeah. And so I guess what Russell Wilson has done is amazing. He is drafted in the third round, Rachel. He was a long career in Seattle, in the playoffs 8 out of 10 years, has a Super Bowl championship, should have had a second one, borderline Hall of Fame guy right now without doing anything else. I didn't get all the quirks and the way he would turn off his teammates. And I wasn't paying attention to all that, Rachel, because it didn't seem to matter. And frankly, I don't think I'm alone. You're tucked away in the Northwest. You've got your quirky sort of Seattle-ness to you. We don't know who you are or what you really do, or we don't really care about you all that much, Seattle. Not really. Yeah. So for me, hey, man, color me naive or unknowledgeable or whatever you want. But I didn't know about a lot of this stuff. And again, Rachel, this is really tricky because he's not a bad person. It's got nothing to do with him as a person. As a person, he seems to be first class all the way. Yeah. This just has to do with football stuff. and your ability and how you're connecting with your teammates and coaches and how you actually execute what you execute. And while you're winning, hey, who cares? But when you're losing or things don't seem right, all of a sudden it seems crazy bad. And by the way, one thing I have seen about these quarterbacks, a lot of NFL athletes, when they reach their end, Rachel, it's not a slow decline. It's, it's like off the cliff. It like happens like that. And
Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not good, but Peyton Manning, even Rachel, he went from in 1 year in 2013 having 55 touchdown passes and being an MVP, although he didn't win that year, which was ridiculous. Yeah. And then 2 years later, he has the worst statistical year of his career. It's a combination of age and injuries and probably desire and a lot of other interesting things as you get a little bit older. So I just didn't expect that to be Russell right now. And listen, Rachel, we're almost halfway through the year. If they can miraculously turn around, I'm all for it. I just don't see how it gets done.
I don't either, especially with the toughness of their schedule. But George Paton also talked about Bradley Chubb being one of their core guys that he wants to continue trade talks with just Chubb and his agent, which I found to be very interesting. Bradley Chubb, most likely, again, this has been rumored, that if the Broncos lose this weekend, he's going to be traded. So where is the best place for him to go? We thought it was going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. We've seen the Minnesota Vikings in there, the Cowboys, the Rams. But the Eagles just signed Robert Quinn.
Right.
And so they're kind of out of the mix now. So who is it? So the Eagles still, for some reason, they're like, okay, well, we're going to go for it. They still have 2 firsts, a second, a third, and 2 sevenths. The Vikings have a first, second, third, fifth, and sixth. The Cowboys have a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and seventh. And then the Rams have a second, third, sixth, and seventh. So the Rams, I feel like, are kind of out of it. The Cowboys, Vikings, can you get a second and a third for Bradley Chubb? I asked actually Derek Wolf about this because I said, what's considered a good pressure rate? Because that's really where you need to look for somebody like Bradley Chubb. And he said 14 would be considered great. Last year, the leading one had a 19%, I want to say, out of the Bengals, 19% pressure rate on the QB. So 14 would be considered great, which is what Bradley Chubb was at previous to last week.
Oh, that's a good number right there. That's a good stat.
Thank you.
I like that. I listen, you only get traded for value if you're value worth trading. It's not an insult. That's a great graphic that we just put up there. It looks like it'd be the Cowboys to me, as the Eagles just made a deal. I mean, if you can get a first-round pick for Bradley Chubb, that would be incredible. But Vaughn garnered a second and a third. Chubb is younger than Vaughn, but he's not as good as Vaughn. So perhaps the second and third would be just fine. Quinn was dealt for like a fourth, so nothing. And I doubt the Eagles will do something again. I mean, why would they at this point? Cowboys, that looks pretty good right there. Vikings, I didn't even think of the Vikings, but that's super interesting.
Yep.
And they have a smaller and smaller window because of Kirk Cousins. By the way, they're doing all that with Kevin O'Connell, who interviewed for the Broncos job and, didn't get it. Bradley Chubb, I would be surprised, Rachel, if Bradley Chubb is on this team on Tuesday. Win or lose. I don't think that matters.
Which means that the season is over. Okay, I can see in my peripheral vision, James is in London. I believe he's got the London Bridge behind him, so we're going to bring him in. James, live from the UK. What's up? Look at it.
Okay, can you hear me? Is there any chance you hear me?
We can hear you. You're quiet, but we can hear you.
We got you.
The Tower Bridge in the background. We came all this way to have this backdrop, and now we've got like a military helicopter just hovering right above us. So I apologize for that. But yeah, this is quite the setting here. It's evening. It's like 5:45 here in the evening. Everybody's hitting the pubs. It's that time of night.
Okay, so first of all, what have you done so far in London? Give us all the details.
Today was touristy day. So DMAC, you're gonna be upset, but it was like Buckingham Palace. We did the London Eye, the big huge Ferris wheel. What all did we see? We saw the guards. We were checking all that stuff off the list. London Bridge is that way. Tower Bridge right behind me. Tonight we're going to play darts. It's a big deal here. So we're going to do a little bit of a dart contest. It's kind of like Top Golf.
Okay.
But for dart. that'll be.
Okay, nice. Looks like we lost you for just a quick second. James, we're gonna throw up the pictures because we gave you a bunch of things that you needed to do. So you got the London Pride beer, you had fish and chips, you have a selfie with one of the Buckingham Palace guards, and then you went to St. James Park as well. Looks like you did have a busy day. Oh, looks like we might have lost him. Can you hear me? All right, we're going to check back.
I did. Have not found the blood chocolate pate yet.
Gotta be on the hunt. All right, we're going to check it with James a little bit. We'll see if he gets a little bit of a move on. It's actually really cool, though. I think it's really cool that he was able to find that spot. Even if the connection...
the fact that worked as well as it did,
I agree.
I mean, I have had more embarrassing appearances on tea time, coffee break than that. That's for sure. Right around my neighborhood. So no, that was, I wish it would have worked a little smoother. But I thought that was actually really, really cool, Rachel.
I know, seeing a Tower Bridge. I thought that was the London Bridge. No, it was a Tower Bridge.
Rachel? Do you know where the London Bridge actually is?
It was behind him,
No.
or it was in front of him at that point.
No. The
Where?
London Bridge is in Lake Havasu, Arizona. And I was there around a year ago this time because I did a triathlon down there. That's my Russell Wilson brag. The London Bridge was taken apart and put back together. It's in Lake Havasu, Arizona. And boy, if Jake Shapiro really trolls my Twitter pictures from a year ago, like early November of last year, you'll see me by the London Bridge in Lake Havasu, Arizona.
Well, I just learned something.
Yes.
I definitely thought that there was 2 bridges in London, but apparently this is why I didn't do well in history.
There's plenty of bridges in London, but the London Bridge, what's called the London Bridge, it's it's in Lake Havasu.
Okay, good to know. Clint just said coffee break just went global. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I know, it was really cool. Honestly, I wish we could have talked to him for a little bit longer. We may be able to get him back at some point. I don't know. Maybe when he's going to throw darts wherever he's headed. But it's just cool to be in London. But what's interesting, D-Mac, and you and I were talking about this before we went live. The Broncos obviously went out to London. They left on Monday, arrived Tuesday. The Jaguars are leaving today. I have a friend that works down there. Hopefully we're going to get her on coffee break tomorrow. Or tea time, excuse me. Tea time tomorrow. But, yeah, point to it, please. Thank you. Is it better to try and get ahead of the jet lag, or is it better to just arrive and hopefully never have to deal with it? What's your opinion?
Well, I don't really have an opinion. I've never really traveled like that, it's been a very long time since I've been to Europe, very, very long, back when I was a teenager. So to me, I would just look at whatever the Jaguars are doing. I mean, the Jaguars are the experts in it. Nobody knows this experience more than the Jags. So there's got to be a reason why they're doing it. I would guess you travel on Thursday, you recover on Friday, you go on Saturday, and you're good to go on Sunday. So theoretically, the Broncos, Rick, that's a good question. So the Broncos traveled on Monday. Here it is Thursday. Could they play today? Are they rested enough today? Yeah. And my guess is actually yes. My guess is, never mind, the game on Sunday. Let's just talk about the amount of days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, play Sunday. I think the Broncos are probably over there. Frankly, they're probably over there a little bit too long, because they they use the day to travel where they would theoretically get exhausted, meaning their off day was just spent in recovery instead of sort of getting it all out of the way. Whatever. It gave our great friends like Romy Bean a chance to do some TV shoots from a phone booth. Sure. And looking at the Ferris wheel and Buckingham Palace and fish and chips. It allowed Richie Kearney to have and Will Peterson to have a vicious back and forth with Eric Dalala from DenverBroncos.com. I saw that today too. So
it's getting feisty over there at the Broncos.
Yeah. Maybe when you travel over there, you feel more camaraderie ship and you feel more bonded together, and you sort of feel like, hey, we're in England. You don't get the right to criticize us. England. So, you do kind of feel like that when you travel on the road with other people with what you do. You kind of felt it. It's kind of like a Super Bowl trip, to be honest with you. So that's what's happening, by the way. The Broncos are treating this like a Super Bowl trip, and the Jaguars are treating this like a road game. Yeah, so who knows what's better. I do know teams, for example, Bill Belichick, if the Patriots have played, say, the Broncos and the Rams, won't come all the way back to New England. They'll actually stay. I mean, there was one year he was practicing at the Air Force Academy. Yeah. But Bill Belichick is kind of just a nerd for all that military stuff. So maybe, he just thought that was a cool thing to do. Who knows? Maybe he was trying to get him used to the altitude. I don't know, Rachel. We'll see. Maybe it doesn't even matter. What probably matters more is how good the Jaguars offense can produce against the Broncos defense. Because is anybody holding out any hope for the Broncos offense?
Who are you taking? Are you taking the Jaguars?
I'm taking the Jaguars, and because I think they're actually a better team. Now they got a worse record for sure; they're 2-5. Mm-hmm. But I think they're actually a better team than the Jets. Mm-hmm. And the Jaguars won one and lost one against the Colts, but they put up more than 24 points against another really good defense. Mm-hmm. The Jaguars with Travis Etienne will relentlessly run the ball, and the one weakness the Broncos defense actually has, Rachel, is their run defense. They give up yards, they give up first downs, and as we saw against the Jets, they gave up a big play for a touchdown. But that being said, the Broncos are one of the best pass defenses. They're one of the best defenses against scoring, yards per play against. They're one of the best. But they just have a slight hiccup with the running game. And Rachel, by the way, that would be no big deal if the offense could simply produce 20 points a game, 17, 18 points a game. It really wouldn't be a big deal if they have that little hiccup.
Okay, you've seen the schedule. It gets so much harder after the bye.
Sure.
Do you have any hope at all that this Broncos team can hit 20 points at all this season?
Yeah, because stuff happens. We almost had a weird one with Zach Wilson where it was a fumble, whatever, recovery, scoop and score. Yeah. Defense can score. Other teams make stupid mistakes. Other teams muff punts and stuff like that, Rachel. So, sure. Yeah, but the real question is, can I see the Broncos scoring 20 points or more without getting assistance from the defense? Without the defense putting them in virtual scoring position with the turnover or the defense scoring themselves? And the answer to that question actually is no. They have shown that they can put, for whatever reason, one good drive together for a touchdown. One and one only. So until we see them do that multiple times, Rachel, I'm not sure what would give us hope that they could do it. Their offensive line is beat up. By the way, Dalton Reisner seems to be on the trading block too. Nobody's really talking about that, but he has an expiring contract. He may be out the door.
Yeah.
Billy Turner at right tackle, and then the Belly at right guard, Cush at center, Dalton, and we're missing, Garrett Bowles. It hasn't been great, Rach. And that's why I suggest that one of the things they may change first is their, offensive line coach.
Now here, I understand the value, but I'm kind of with James on this. We talked about it earlier this week. Why touch the defense when the defense really is working? I know that they have the losses, but they're the only reason that this Broncos team is at all in the game. So keep the defense together and get rid of some pieces on offense that clearly aren't working. I know that Bradley Chubb is worth way more than Dalton Reisner is, but I just don't want to see that core be taken away. And then who knows if you can get somebody who's even quite as good as Bradley Chubb. It's such a risk when you already have a player like that.
Well, okay, but then if you keep Bradley Chubb, you either have to franchise tag him or you have to sign him to a new deal.
I say franchise tag. Who else are you going to franchise tag?
Who else would you franchise tag?
Yeah.
Well, nobody on this team because
that's why you franchise tag him. Who cares?
All right, listen. Okay, but then why did you draft Nick Bonito? What are you going to do with Baron Browning? How good do you feel about Jonathan Cooper? Why did you sign Randy Gregory?
But you need three. You need Browning, you need Chubb, and you need Gregory for the rotation.
Well, all right, Rachel. How about this then? Why haven't they already signed him to a new deal? So never mind our opinion. Why haven't they done it?
Why didn't they wait to see if Russell Wilson, how he looked for half of a season or a full season?
There you go, Rachel.
But that leads my point to, I don't like the way that George Paton, which is shocking because if we would have talked about this 45 days ago, I would have said George Paton has handled everything so incredibly well. I think he's done a tremendous job. But I don't like the way George Paton's done a lot of things now, what we've seen actually what's happening on the field. I haven't liked his draft entirely. So I worry about giving him more draft picks and not being able to get a quality guy like Bradley Chubb.
It's always been a high risk, high reward situation for George Paton, everything. So last year he passed on a quarterback for a cornerback in Patrick Surtain, which everybody says, well, he's a fantastic cornerback. But Rachel, isn't it beyond obvious how you take a great cornerback out of a game? I mean, he doesn't have any interceptions. He doesn't have a pick six. Okay, great. You shut down DK Metcalf. Well, we got these 4 other guys over here. Yeah. Oh, Deebo Samuel's not having a great game. Or, if it was the Chargers, Keenan Allen gets shut down or whatever. But, Rachel, teams have multiple offensive weapons to go to. So even if you're the best of the best and you shut a guy down, the other teams don't care. They'll just run that guy around, and then you won't be involved in very much. And if you play a different type of defense where you're playing, more zone coverage, then that opens up DK Metcalf or Deebo Samuel or Keenan Allen or whoever. And so, yeah, it's great to have a shutdown corner. I'm not saying it's not great to have one. But you find those guys, Rachel, either in deeper rounds. Maybe you find them once you already have a quarterback if you have a top 10 pick. So that was what Paton did there for Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, both gone, 7-10 season. And now you're 2-5. I mean, Rachel, they are, 9-15? I mean, they're 2-11, and they're 2-9 in their last 11 games, worst in the NFL. Yeah. So while the Russell Wilson deal, I was all for it. It looked great to me, right? Mm-hmm. But even at the time, Rachel, we said this is high risk, high reward. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't go well, look what you gave up. I mean, it's wild. And we all pointed out, okay, high risk, high reward. First time head coach, first time defensive coordinator, first time special teams coordinator, first time offensive coordinator with Outen, first time running back coach with Tyrone Wheatley, first time offensive line coach with Butch Barry. I mean, come on, Rach. I mean, we had so much inexperience, but there was so much value put on Russell Wilson. You didn't have time for a developmental season. You were supposed to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah. Here's the thing. George Paton didn't mess up with trading for Russell Wilson. George Paton, because no one could have expected this out of Russell Wilson. I don't care. If you said you did, you should have gone to Vegas and you would be a millionaire right now. So nobody expected this. Where George Paton messed up with Russell Wilson was not seeing him play a game and signing him to his contract, which we have to give major props to Russell Wilson's agent because he obviously pushed for the deal to get done. And look at where we are. I have a question, though. And I had this question earlier, and then we got onto a different topic. I don't know who the quarterback coach is for the Denver Broncos because I only know who Russell Wilson's quarterback coach is. So who is the quarterback coach for the Denver Broncos?
Well, it's Clint Kubiak, Gary Kubiak.
Oh, I knew that, actually. Never mind. I knew that.
But you're right. You're referring to Jake Heaps, who is who does have access to the facility, Rachel. He's not on the field to coach like in the huddle with Russell Wilson, but he stands on the sidelines of the field. He's in an area when he's out there that the media isn't allowed to stand there, but he's not allowed to be he's kind of in a weird coaching purgatory where he's not with the media, but he's not with the coaches either. He's kind of in his own weird little bubble. And then Russell has another woman who is one of his people, and she is often seen out there with Jake Heaps, and I don't even know what she does. She does something for him. Who knows? So Russell most times has actually 2 people that are kind of watching everything that's going on. And then, of course, he has the office inside. Jake Heaps has access to that. It sets up a very confusing situation for Clint Kubiak, who's, the Broncos quarterback coach. I mean, it really feels like to me that Clint Kubiak's probably just much more involved with Brett Rippon and Josh Johnson, getting them up to speed. And frankly, it doesn't look like he would have much to do with Russ at all. And it's just Rachel, it's just a very odd situation. And by the way, I certainly did not know that when we got Russell Wilson. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was coming. I had no idea.
It bothers me. I've talked to you plenty about how I don't like that he has an office. The fact that things aren't working, you do want Nathaniel Hackett to say, all right, your team's done. Sorry, you got to work with what we're
doing. Yeah, but Rachel, how can you do that when how do you put that toothpaste back in the tube?
I mean, you have to.
How?
You somehow have to. You have to be the adult in the situation, or George Paton needs to be it and say, hey, no, this isn't working. This is unacceptable.
But he allowed it too. So I think you're headed in the right direction. You know who really has to do something? Greg Penner. Greg Penner needs to do something. Greg Penner simply, listen, man, hey, no offense. We're just going to tighten things up. We're going to, your guy, Jay Keeves, we're going to change things a little bit, how we do things. And that's that, Russ. The end. From Greg Penner. I mean, what's Russ going to say to that? And okay, it certainly would, look bad in terms of the authority of George Paton and Nathaniel Hackett. But I mean, what are they supposed to do at this point? They allowed all this to happen in the first place. And by the way, back to Russell Wilson's agent, what a job he did. Because George Paton was like, I liked how things were going during training camp. Rachel, we were out there at training camp. It was abysmal for the offense. Yep. The defense was beating them day after day. They clowned them in a red zone drill, so much so Russell Wilson gathered the offense together to break them down, and the defense came over and mocked them. Yeah. Russell Wilson was having words with Justin Simmons like in the middle of the field. I mean, it was like, that's good? No. Rachel, here's what really happened. Russell Wilson's agent, Mark Rogers, who is a genius, realized this is not good. And I better get this deal done. Let's get it done now. He put pressure on George Paton. They set a timeline to get it done. And sure, little concessions. This is the better time to get done for the market the next year. Well, Rachel, what exactly would the market be on a new deal for Russell Wilson next year? I mean, his agent made Russell Wilson literally millions and millions and millions of dollars compared to what he would have got had that deal got done in 2023.
I know. Could you imagine how much money the Broncos would save knowing what they know now? Oh, my goodness.
If they knew what they knew now, well, first of all, they would just let Wilson, that they would offer him a lesser deal, Rachel, for sure, or they would simply let him play out his contract or trade him. They could trade Russell Wilson. They could.
But who would want? Okay, this is a great question. And we're going to get into our King Supers pick'em winner of the week. This is a great question, though, D-Mac. If Russell Wilson went to a new offense with a new team, would he do well?
No, he would not. He's not as mobile as he once was. He's not growing, Rachel, so he's still short. He doesn't use the middle of the field well. He never really has. And because he can't escape the same way he used to, and he has injuries, okay? Mm-hmm. So the answer is actually no. I actually don't know a team. It's a fair question. I really don't know a team who would trade for Russell Wilson right now.
Oh, gosh, yeah, me either. But so this is also my point where we're like contradicting things where we're saying, the offense isn't working because it's not Russell Wilson. It's Nathaniel Hackett because they can't get anything going, which is true. I think two statements can be true at the same time, but it's also Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
But he's just not the quarterback.
But all they have to do, because the defense is so good or has been so good, is they only have to find a quarterback who will take them to average as an offense. You only need to score 22 points a game, Rachel, would be amazing. You know, if they could score 22 points a game, they would win most of their games. That's how good the defense is. Yep. So the answer to that is what's crazy. There's a lot of quarterbacks out there, Rachel, who could do that. And you just don't need. Now, I don't think this is a championship formula, Rachel. I don't. No. I think you can win every now and then with a superior defense. But, Rachel, it's seriously every now and then. If you want a long-term mode of success, you need a quarterback who's a top 10, arguably top 5 quarterback. And you need that quarterback, Rachel, for a long time in their prime. Yeah. And that's why, Rachel, at the end of the day, whether you guys like it or not, you got to take a shot at a quarterback in the draft. And that's essentially the biggest reason why passing on Mac Jones and Justin Fields for Patrick Surtain was a mistake, because that window to take a chance on the best opportunity to win for a long period of time was passed over for a very short time fix.
I don't know. Okay, well, we're going to bring in our King Supers winner, but while we do that, we're going to tell you about the Red Light Athletic Centennial, brand new state-of-the-art speed and agility training center. You can enter in to win a $100 gas gift card plus a free long membership. Ages 8 through 18, enter in to win your student athlete to take their performance to the next level. Enter in at denverfan.com. Jake, I'm throwing you for a loop, having you do all these graphics. How are you, my friend? Congratulations
Jake?
on winning King Supers this week. Let's go.
Wait, you're not Matt Smith.
So who is short like Russell Wilson? Who has 2 wins on this season like Russell Wilson?
Jake.
Where's my $245 million? I want more than $400 King Supers. George Paton. Like, Russell Wilson's only played 7 games. I'm competing against everyone on the fan staff, and I've won twice. You know how much time I've spent on the fan King Supers pick'em, making sure my picks are all good? D-Mac, I'm doing high steps all around my apartment, looking up research on DVOAs, trying to figure out. No, I'm not. I'm just picking whoever Vegas.
Yeah, but like, how did you beat Matt Smith?
I got on my computer Thursday at 6:00, spent 3 minutes just picking the favorites, and then went to watch Thursday Night Football.
Wow.
There you go.
Didn't even remember until Monday till I texted Rachel, hey, we're tied for the lead in fan pick'em.
Yeah, by the way, congratulations. That's awesome for you. But I think we do have to, give Matt Smith a little credit, because didn't he tie with you and you won in a tiebreaker?
I
Yes.
also tied.
I had a feeling the Bears were going to win, so I picked a really bad score that the Patriots were going to win by, because no one was going to pick the Bears or Patriots to lose that game. So I just playing both sides, and I won. So there you go.
Rachel, you tied too? That sucks that you didn't win.
I know. I
Stupid
gave the
Jake
Patriots
won.
too much credit, apparently.
Mac, what do you think the most expensive thing is at King Supers? I've got $400 to there. I just want to know.
Do you really have $400 at King Supers?
Yeah, I've won twice.
Well, I've got a King Supers on Parker near Arapahoe, and they do a sneaky great job with sushi. And
it's the best sushi for like a non-sushi restaurant.
yeah, because it's made, they make it there. So it's not like shipped in some of the stores, yes, they do ship it in. But at the King Supers I go to near my house, they make the sushi there. So Jake, I would have a sushi party for the office. I would go to that King Supers, and I'd bring sushi in for everybody.
I don't want to set that precedent for Matt Smith. I'd feel bad that I was the guy who, used my Supers card to.
There's zero doubt. If I got money to King Supers, I would get food for everybody at the office. Zero doubt.
400 cans of Campbell's chicken noodle soup as my background.
Look, it's snowing where I'm at right now.
What
I'll
are
take
we?
some soup. I'll take some soup. What can I say?
Yeah,
It's snowing where I'm at.
I'll take some soup.
On your
I'll
note,
take some
Hey,
sushi.
Rachel.
Halloween candy, it's expensive right now. My goodness.
Rachel, no soup for you.
No soup for me.
So wait, Jake, you're not gonna. There you go. Well, that's a year ago. Yeah, that's at Lake Havasu. That's not the London Bridge, though. Were you just trying to find an embarrassing picture?
no, that's the London Bridge. I mean, I just
there
I
it
was
is,
trying to
yeah.
find. You were saying you ran the triathlon. I wanted to give you credit. That was you at the triathlon at Lake Havasu, and then I was showing the London Bridge, which I was at about the same time. And you're totally right. And to bring it full circle about the London Bridge, Lake Havasu is what? On the Colorado River.
That's right.
So Lake Havasu, James Merrillat, I believe his family he has some family in Lake Havasu. So, Colorado River to Lake Havasu to London, it's coming full circle for James on the Thames.
Wait, can we please real quick go back to D-Max, though? It's the cap for me. The cap for me. As a former swimmer, it is the cap for me. Nice job, my friend.
Oh my God, the swim was my worst part. I had to swim a mile, and oh my Lord.
And open water is hard.
It was, but It's funny, in that triathlon, you go from one point and you swim to the London Bridge. That's actually what you did. And you turn around and you kind of swim back. And where the course was, you could touch. It was a small channel. You could actually, touch your feet on the bottom if you.
That canal is small and shallow.
I didn't mean to do that. Are you calling me small and shallow, Jake? Is that what you just?
I said the canal is small and shallow.
No, I think that was a fun shot at me. D-Mac, you're like a canal, small and shallow.
Oh my God.
I got to admit, that's a pretty good sing right there. I'm not going to even lie. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to defend my terrible swimming when Jake just got me with a good one right there.
Okay, well, you both were, since you both have been to Lake Havasu, you both.
Wait, hold on. What was Jake doing there?
My fiance in the picture went to Arizona State, and one weekend we were just like, hey, we need to hit the water. I was visiting her, so we drove out to Lake Havasu, and I'm obsessed with infrastructure and dams and bridges, so I really wanted to see London Bridge. I also wanted to see the dam on the Colorado River, and I also wanted to spend some time on the beach, so it was a win-win-win.
Wow, because that is not – I did the same drive. That's not a casual drive. No. I mean, that's just not a little day trip. I mean, that's a little adventure getting out there.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours, like through the Backbones Desert. I just put on an audiobook. It was a good day. I was listening to Meet Me in the Bathroom, which is the autobiography on the music scene in the 2000s after 9/11 in New York City. Great book. And just had some fun. Did
you go visit the Lake Havasu campus of Arizona State University?
I did not do that.
I did that, Rachel. It looks like Arapahoe Community College, but technically it is Arizona State. They have offices and trailers.
That's like the CSU Mountain campus.
It's a weird setup. They have a real campus with real student housing at Lake Havasu. It's one of the strangest things you'd ever see in your life.
It's like my marine biology department or something like that.
It is like that. You're right. Yeah. It focuses on that. It focuses on that and sun tanning.
All right. Okay. Well, moving on to the Nuggets and the Lakers last night. KCP left the game with a ankle injury. I believe that's what they're saying. Jake, have you heard any news on anything? Because it didn't look pretty.
Yeah, I actually just got some news. He talked to Chris Dempsey, and he said he's good. We were a little cautioned, and I would say Michael Malone was generally positive about it after the game, but he wouldn't full commit to saying, yeah, he'll be back Friday. It didn't sound too serious. It looked serious in the moment. And if anyone's tripped over their own 2 feet and their ankle goes down, it is a really painful thing to twist your ankle. And sometimes it's something that bothers you for weeks. Sometimes it's something that you're over right away. And, on your run, you just run off. So it sounds like it's one of the latter, thankfully, because as D-Mac and I have watched the 2 Nuggets home games together, I think we both agree that Kenny Pope has been a really valued contributor, and he's going to be an important piece for this team come playoff time.
It was nice to see.
Pope. Look at him throwing it in there.
Well, he wants to be called Kenny Pope, or he doesn't mind it. However you want to put it. It was a little bit of a scary moment, but it was. Listen, we suspected probably it's okay because he did come back after he limped off in the locker room. He did come back and sat on the bench. If it was really that serious, he would have just been, gone or something. He wouldn't have come back to the locker room. Also, a note from last night, too, Michael Porter Jr., Michael Malone did say if they had to play him, they would have. And they're trying to be careful with him. And frankly, what an insult to the Lakers. You just didn't need him last night. Seriously, that Lakers team is terrible. They have no shooting. In a shooting league where every team has unbelievable shooting, they have the worst shooters maybe of all time. You will see record low numbers of field goal and three-point percentage from the Los Angeles Lakers this year. There is zero chance they can compete without being able to make basic three-pointers, and they can't. They're awful. The Nuggets had a off night in shooting, and they kind of clowned the Lakers. Had the Nuggets actually been playing the way they're capable, they would have won that game by 30 points last night, guys. That's how bad the Lakers are.
And Jamal's still looking rusty, too.
Very rusty.
It's going to take him, I think, a couple more weeks. Like, I would be surprised if by Christmas if he is looking good. Because, He's struggling, but it's going to take time. Like, I'm not in panic. I'm not like, oh my gosh, Jamal Murray is never going to be a good basketball player again. Like, it's just going to take some time.
You're right. You're right about all of that. And you'd rather have rust with Jamal now, but you got to be a little careful because you just can't lose games because of that. Yeah. So it's understandable. You want him to shoot. You want him to get back at it. But, I mean, look at Friday night, or Monday, rather, in Portland's not good. And even last night, guys, I swear, it took him the entire game to hit 1 3-pointer. And the relief was noticeable that he hit that 1 3-pointer.
Yeah.
Jokic, by the way, has been struggling from 3. And he was funny after the game because he was just like, I make him in practice. I don't know. And but he needs to do it. Like he pointed out, he's got to put up 4 3-pointers at least every single game because of the flow of the game. So no matter what, he's got to at least have the threat of bringing people outside to guard him. If he doesn't, people will just sink in. And that, by the way, that's what they're doing against the Lakers, Rachel. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. They're playing like a zone defense. They're backing way in. It's like a college game or something. Yeah. If you played that defense against the Nuggets, they'd score 150 points. They would just shoot 3-pointers nonstop. It would be a joke.
True.
So too is Aaron Gordon, by the way, who's only hit 1 3. Bones Highland didn't hit a 3 last night. So there's some guys struggling a little bit to start the season, but I like that Jamal Murray stayed aggressive. For the most part, he stayed confident. To D-Mac's point, the Lakers are shooting 22% from the 3-point line this year in 5 games. That's already 5% worse than the next worst team, which is the Thunder, who may or may not be tanking. And, it's not like they have great players on that team. So, yeah, definitely it's going to take the Nuggets some time. I talked to Jamal Murray about this, and he said kind of like 20 games is kind of his ballpark on when he thinks he's going to be back up to full speed. I talked to Brandon Stokely, who also had an ACL injury, tore his ACL, came back. He said it took him a full year to get back up to speed from the tear. Well, we're well past a year with Jamal because of, it took him so long in recovery. But basically talking to Stokely, I got the impression that it's going to take Jamal a significant amount of playing time to feel like he's back in rhythm, which to me, I would guess is around January.
Really quick, just to pile on the Lakers for a quick second. Normally, if they were the worst team in the league, it would be the perfect year to be the worst team in the league because of Victor Wembanyama, who is a generational talent, 7'5" point guard. I mean, I can't even believe I'm saying that.
Yeah.
He is absurd. The Lakers don't have a first-round pick, so it doesn't even matter if they tank out. There's nothing they can do with it, which is just so great to hate on the Lakers.
It's just chef's kiss that there's teams all across the NBA that are trying to lose, and the Lakers aren't trying to lose, and they may be better at losing than those teams.
Fantastic.
Jake, last one we're going to end on. We got a comment. Who are you taking for tonight's game?
Which game?
Thursday Night Football. It's Thursday, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Who's playing?
Now that you put me on the spot, I can't think of who it is.
The Bucks and
Ravens.
Bucks and Ravens.
Oh yes. Yep.
The Ravens have good uniforms. Take them.
Oh, it's over in Tampa. What's interesting is
pick who has the best uniforms.
The Ravens, the Bucks are still in first place. Their division is awful. So I would take the Ravens too, but they've had this crazy tendency of trying to give away games. And don't forget, we got the Avalanche playing against the Devils out there in Jersey as well.
Yep. Also, wasn't Gabe Landeskog? He was at the game last night.
He was sitting in the Kroenke seats in the front row, and it was good to see Gabe. The crowd loved him. They played all the small things, and the crowd at Nuggets games, as we found out, does not sing along to all the small things.
Oh really? Oh, that's embarrassing.
Not even close.
No.
Oh, that's so embarrassing.
Oh, they potted the song down for the crowd to sing, and it was just ignored.
Oh, that's really depressing. Okay, how was the level of music yesterday, D-Mac?
It's mind-blowingly loud. I mean, it's like
they didn't turn it down for you.
I put in my earbuds, but I like talking to Jake. Talking to Jake is wonderful, and he was sitting next to me. Nice. But there were points where it was just, Jake was writing, and I was like, okay. I just went like, yeah, like that. No,
our good buddy Patrick Saunders covered a Nuggets game last year, and he described going to a Nuggets game like going to a very loud Dave & Buster's. It's perfect.
Well, but to be fair, he's used to a morgue with what he covers.
Right.
So you get it. How about a nice little in between? That's a funny way to put it, though.
Just like bring the volume down a little bit at Nuggets.
So, Rachel, it is. I guess if you just go to 1 or 2 games, whatever, right? But I mean, we're gonna sit there for like 40 games, and it's guys, it is unreal. I mean, it is something else.
Okay, everyone, that's going to do it for Jake, D-Mac, myself, James Merrillat live in London. It was cool for him to be out there. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us here on Tea Time for the week. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful Thursday. Stay safe and warm.